Hi, thanks for watching this weekly Connect. I hope it helps you with this first lesson of 2016. We're going to be starting off 2016 with lessons on the parables. So we're going to start off a 5-week course on the parables. And our first parable is the parable of the wise and foolish builders. So we're taking it straight from Luke 6:46 through 49 and Matthew 7:24 through 27. So read that over and come on into class and be ready. Our memory verse for the entire month is going to be Matthew 13:13. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. And this is Jesus speaking when one of the disciples asked him why he was speaking to people in parables, and he was trying to explain that he's trying to make it clear to them, trying to help them understand. Giving them a parable is like a teaching story, and so we're going to try, because we're learning parables, we're going to go ahead and stick with that memory verse all month long. So before your story, when the kids come into class, they will each get a piece of paper with the house cut out on it, and they will also get a piece of paper with the rock on it and a memory, just a part of the verse, not the memory verse, I'm sorry, just part of the verse from our parable today. And so that's on a thicker paper. It's a little bit thicker because it's supposed to be the rock. So have the kids start off by cutting out their homes. Now they don't cut on the dotted lines. They only cut on the solid black line, which includes this portion right here where you can see these are still solid lines. You're going to need those cut out as well so that you can fold over the dotted line. So after you get that all cut out on all the solid lines all the way around, have the kids go ahead and fold the paper on the dotted lines. And then after they fold it, it'll look like kind of like this because they're folding back on their dotted lines. So you're going to have your house like this. So they're going to kind of fold them back. Then you can get the, you can use tape, but I think the glue sticks are a little bit easier. But you can use tape if that's what's easier for you. But glue stick seems to be better. You can just have them fold down, and I suggest starting with the bottom floor, the actual base of your house. So, and then you'll just fold in the walls and just glue them down. Try and do this super fast. Maybe I won't do all of them. But kind of just glue around the base, keeping the roof open so your hands can still work in there, so their hands can still work in there and kind of maneuver around. So then you're going to have an open box like this. Your house is going to be still like this, but you don't have a roof. Everything's just open like that. I hope this helps. So then you're going to have that solid foundation put together, and then you can start on the side by putting your walls up, still keeping your roof open, so all your walls will be connected to the side. Okay, and then lastly, go ahead and do your roof. Again, it's just right on the dotted lines. You just fold everything in there, put a little bit of glue on it. I had already pre-glued this, so it might not, some of the glue is already drying. Just trying to do it in the interest of time, but I guess I'll have to tape a little bit. And then, by the end, they will have their house. It's a 3D little house. So if they get kind of crazy and are pushing it in a little bit more, sometimes you can just kind of blow at the top. Got to blow up here and poof it back out again if it gets too smushed down. And then you'll have the rock and just have them glue their house right there on the solid rock, and that's their take home. So looks a little bit more complicated than it is. Actually, when you get it in your hands and you see and you start folding stuff and gluing or taping, you'll see that it's fairly easy. Really, the cutting out part is the hardest part. So if you have younger kiddos, you may want to have some of your helpers, as the kids come in, start cutting parts of those out for them so that that part goes a little bit quicker. If you have older kids and you're going to have a lot of time left over in this opening activity, you may want to consider having the kids draw or color on their houses, just however they'd like to do that. They can do that before they start cutting it out and before they tape it. So That's your opening activity. Then we'll go right into story time. Your Connect question is, have you ever been caught in a storm, and what was it like? So you're going to start off talking about the storm. Now, if you're the storyteller this month, it's going to be super fun. We have a lot of parables, which are always fun to tell. There's different ways in your curriculum that has been written out for you to tell the story. This week, we actually have the opportunity for 2 kids to be acting out the story as you're telling it. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead and do that. I also am including a short video that I found, a whole bunch of videos on YouTube for the parables, and each week I've included a short video on your DVD. So if that's something that you're interested in showing the kids, and you can explain it afterwards or do a preface before and explain that to the kids. However you want to do that, you can feel free to use that video, or if you find one that you like better, go ahead and put that on a jump drive. I'm sure that your campus coordinator could get that set up for you on their computer as well. So however you'd like to tell the story, there's so much out there to do the parables. Just make sure that you're still up front and center and that you've read over the lesson and you're prepared to answer questions or do the teaching and not just have the video teach as well. So after the video or your teaching or however you choose to tell the story, you will of course do your worship and offering, and you're going to just explain where their worship and their offering goes, and then we're going to talk about Psalms 96:9 and talk about how God has told us to worship him with all the splendor of his holiness. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that, kind of reminding the kids to do a lot of worship. And this month on your DVD, you'll know that we put the Bible book Bop on there, because I always like to add that in January, because this is the perfect time to get kids to start learning their Bible, the books of the Bible. And so that song is a great way for them to learn that. If you have another song that helps to learn the books of the Bible in order, go ahead and bring that in. I'm sure your campus coordinator would love for you to share that with the kids as well. I always just like to do a big push to have the kids try and really learn and hide the books of the Bible in their hearts so that they have that for now and for always. So that's what we're going to be doing at Thornton campus. So I hope that you'll join us in that big push as well. Then you'll go right on to your blessing, which is from Psalms again. It's 25, 4-5. And then after story time, you'll go back to your rooms and you'll have a review game. So we're going to just have about 16 review questions, and you're going to just split your class into 2 teams and have them answer the review questions. So it's kind of, you'll just go back and forth having them answer each question. Each time the person answers the question correctly, they get to add a part to their house. So it's kind of like Hangman, but not really, because you kind of want to build your house. So it's not like you want to hang the person, you want to actually get enough lines to build your house. Excuse me, a little tickle. So you'll ask the question. If they get it right, they get to put a piece on the roof, they can put a foundation, they can put a wall. Each question that they answer correctly, they can add a piece to their house. They can, if you get far enough in and you have enough time, they can build doors, they can have windows, you can add other things, maybe a chimney to the house too. And then at the end of the time, or at the end of the questions, when all the questions are given, whoever has the most complete house will win the game. So that's how we're going to do our review questions with our game, kind of combine it so that we don't run out of time for the most awesome part of our day, which is praying with those kiddos. And this week we're going to be praying. You're going to be talking to the kids about obeying God and how he wants us to not only just listen to his word, which would be, which is great. I mean, it's great to listen to his word, but if you don't take it into your heart and you don't obey it, it doesn't really mean much. So we really want to start off this year explaining to the kids that not only should they be paying attention in church and be reading his word on their own, but they should be listening to what he's telling them to do and obeying his words as well. So we're going to read Psalm 119, 9-12 aloud, and talk about how the kids should be living by God's word, and of course, great reminder for us as well. Talk about that. Take any new prayer requests. Go back through your prayer book or your prayer journal, whatever you happen to have on your campus, and talk about how things have changed from last year. Really get to know these kids. Spend some time in fellowship with them, and of course, in praying for them. And so, write down any new prayers in your journal. Go ahead and read over Psalm 119, 9-12, and talk to the kids about that and see if that brings any of maybe the quieter kids will have some things to add to your prayer list as well when you give them that prompt. And then we're going to be getting ready for next week, which is the parable of the unmerciful servant from Matthew 18:21 through 35. So we'll continue on with our parables. So I hope you all have had a very lovely Christmas, and maybe by the time you've seen this, you've had a great New Year. And I'll just be praying for you to be teaching great lessons and having God speak to you through these lessons while you're preparing for them, and I'll be preparing for them as well. So if you have any questions or any specific prayer requests, go ahead and send those to myself, or you can send them to your campus coordinator, and we would love to pray for you or answer any of your questions or concerns. So thank you so much. God bless, and have a great new year.